a quick follow up to my last episode and a bunch of other random bullshit. This is nonsense. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Nonsense Podcast. I'm your host, Edwin Bob. What's going on? How are you? Another day in paradise, right? I guess. It's fucking hot, dude. Like, I'm trying to be a little more on the chipper side, but I'm fucking hot. It's been like 90 degrees consistently again. Work sucks. But, whatever. I get to do a podcast. Unlike, a small percentage of the world, because everybody and their mom has a podcast. But mine's is the best. Let's just be realistic. Mine's is the best. We all know this. So anyway, let's just cut to the chase and get a few minor things out the way. I got an email from Lauren because of my last episode, because I was talking about the fucking the rainbow cop cars in the UK, and I couldn't for the life of me remember if it was the UK or Great Britain. And instead of being mad at me for making fun of the fucking rainbow pride cop car, she was actually quite pissed at me for not knowing the difference between Great Britain and UK, because there isn't any. There's no fucking difference, apparently. So thank you, Lauren, for chewing me out quite heavily on there being absolutely no difference. I think the only difference is that the UK just includes Northern Ireland, if I'm not mistaken. I'm gonna double check it real quick. Let's just look it up. UK versus Great Britain. See, and the fact that it came up so easily means that it ain't that common of a fuck up. Great Britain, therefore, is a geographical term referring to the island known as simply Britain. United Kingdom, on the other hand, is a purely political term. It's the independent country that encompasses all of Great Britain and now the region called North Ireland. So there you go. You learned something, I learned something. I apologize for not knowing the difference, but apparently that's the only fucking difference. It's just Britain plus Northern Ireland. And I thought it was two completely fucking different places, and I couldn't for the life of me think of like which one was which. And apparently, yeah, there you go. It's just fucking all of it. That's it. And even have a nice little map here that just literally circles Great Britain and then Northern Ireland, which I didn't know that Scotland, England, and Wales is all part of Great Britain. I thought Great Britain was just his own thing, but apparently it's all of that shit put together. And it's not even Great Britain, it's just Britain. Who the fuck, why are we still calling it Great Britain? That must be some shit that they've been saying, and that they just started talking to the rest of us and fucking starting to say it. It's not great. It's just you fuckers. Get out of here. No one even likes you. Well, I mean, you know what? I will say this. Maybe they're people like them more than Americans like us. Americans like America. I'll put it that way. Especially with all the shit that's going on in Afghanistan right now. England and Great Britain in general, they actually care about their people. And they go in and save them and whatnot, instead of just letting them sit in fucking Afghanistan and potentially die. But you didn't hear that from me. So, yes, thank you for that nicely worded email. Either way, so the last thing I wanted to get back to from the last episode was the whole CM Punk thing. So I got a handful of emails that I don't need to mention, individually, because I'm just going to cover everything all at once. So first off, yes, no shit, I'm a fan of fucking CM Punk. A lot of people were just very shocked that I was a fan of CM Punk. And I don't think I did a very good job of explaining it, but I mean, here goes a second shot of explaining why I love CM Punk so much. Quite frankly, it was just a mix of I didn't really give a shit about wrestling for a while, So seeing CM Punk in general, I mean, some people just have an attraction to him when, as for wrestlers, I should say. Like, there are people draw in a crowd a certain way, and CM Punk was one of those guys. And, I mean, guys that typically draw in a crowd without really having to do much, you're talking your Undertaker, Kane's, Rock, Stone Cold, obviously, Triple H. Like, they don't have to do much. They just need to appear. Hulk Hogan's another. Like, all they need to do is just be in existence, and people are drawn to them. And CM Punk was definitely one of those guys where you've seen him, and then you're just like, I don't know who this guy is, but I'm interested. And I first caught him, like, I caught him once, and I kind of just was intrigued, but I didn't care. When he was still doing his Straight Edge Society bit. When that was, like, his whole thing, was I'm straight edge. He was shaving people's heads and all of that shit, and he had, like, this mini cult in wrestling. I seen him. I was like, I don't know if I like this guy. I want to not like him, but I'm definitely intrigued. So that was my first. And at that point, that's when I kind of just remembered the name CM Punk. And I kind of just kept my ears open just to see if I, heard it anymore. And I really didn't because of a plethora of reasons. Most of it being just, WWE just not like giving two shits about CM Punk. Pretty much that's the reason why I never heard of CM Punk, is WWE themselves gave no fucks about CM Punk. So they didn't really push him. The next time I'd heard of him was during the Pipe Bomb era where he was leaving. And then I kind of stuck around a bit during the Pipe Bomb era, watched him leave, watched him come back, had his, long championship run where he just kind of tried to run through as many people as he could and pretty much just embracing the heel factor fairly heavily. And it was pretty much anytime CM Punk showed up, it was always interesting. And during that time, that's when I also, gained the attention of a few other wrestlers. That's when I, was paying a little closer attention to Kofi Kingston, for one, which he didn't get a lot of love, but I like Kofi Kingston way back when. Daniel Bryan was just coming out of nowhere. The return of Chris Jericho with the short hair, which I wasn't a big fan of, but again, he was from my era, so I still enjoyed him. And then what's the last guy? What is this? The Legend Killer. Fuck. Oh my god, I really can't think of his name. Starts with an R. Rodney something. No. Fuck. What is his name? The Legend Killer. I'm just gonna look it up real quick. Legend Killer. I just said I only know his nickname. Legend Killer. Randy Orton. God damn, I couldn't think of Randy Orton. So yeah, that's when I was a big fan. I became a fan of Randy Orton. And again, Randy Orton was another person from my generation of, me watching wrestling, because he was part of Evolution, which a lot of people forget. Evolution was like a big thing for me when I was still watching wrestling. It was Ric Flair, Triple H, Randy Orton, and Batista. So just like the old meets the new, you know what I mean? Which, I mean, those two guys kind of got a heavy push in later years too. So there you go. I was watching those dudes when they were fucking babies. But yeah, no. But if it wasn't for CM Punk kind of redrawing me in, I wouldn't have paid attention to half of these other dudes. And thankfully enough, video games did another big hit where CM Punk is on the cover. CM Punk had, to me, two of the dopest fucking intro themes. This Fire from Killswitch Engage, and then the Cult of Personality, which I can't remember who made that song. But yeah, just two of the dopest songs I've ever heard for a wrestling intro. So that was already another big push. So between all of those things that I just mentioned, the fact that he had a fairly simplistic finishing move, go to sleep, where he just pretty much picks you up, drops you on his knee, knocks you the fuck out, and then kind of borrows from Macho Man, my other favorite wrestler, with his elbow drop. And then I think he had, if I'm not mistaken, he had like a submission move as well. He was a very technical wrestler, not a lot of flair, not a lot of flash, but he gets the job done, you know what I mean? He was, just a skilled, kind of mixed martial artist style wrestler. He did what he needed to do, minor high flying moves, got the job done, and was done with it, So, yeah, big fan of all those guys. He brought in I didn't even realize this until later on. He was the reason why the Shield existed. So your Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and the other guy, I can't remember. But yeah, he's the one that kind of pushed those guys. So those guys were literally after him 90% of the time, but he's the one who kind of gave him a push into the wrestling scene in the first place. So again, just fucking incredible wrestler in general. Like CM Punk didn't change the landscape of wrestling like your Rock, Stone Cold, Undertaker, those guys, but he was a lot of behind the scenes shit that I didn't know about that I was kind of appreciative to learn about, how people, need to get pushed, to get over, and just little minor terms that you learn in wrestling in general, which I'm not going to bore you guys with. But CM Punk was just kind of entangled with the back and then the front. But at the end of the day, the biggest reason why I gave two shits about CM Punk was he reminded me of Stone Cold. Stone Cold and CM Punk are very similar in wrestling for the simple fact they're wrestlers first. That's all that matters. Stone Cold dabbled in acting, but we all knew his home, his place, everything he gave two shits about was wrestling first. He grew up in the business and he cared about the business. CM Punk is another individual who cared about wrestling, cared about being the best wrestler, and nothing more. The movie shit, I think he did 2 movies well after he left wrestling, but all he gave two shits about was wrestling. He didn't care for shit else. The man only wanted his face on ice cream bars for wrestling. You know what I mean? Like, he just wanted to be the best there was, period, when it came to wrestling. So yeah, no, that's the reason why I gave two shits about fucking CM Punk, man. CM Punk was hands down, or is hands down, one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. I think my list goes Stone Cold, CM Punk, and then maybe the Hardy Boys, Like, those are my guys, hands down. And then maybe mix Macho Man in there, depending on if we're just talking only. Yeah, that would be my Mount Rushmore if you can add the Hardy Boys as a dual face. It'd be CM Punk, Stone Cold, Macho Man, and the Hardy Boys. Funnily enough, 3 of those guys are literally just, I won't say anti-heroes, but not the guy that's pushed. You know what I mean? Stone Cold wasn't the guy that was pushed. He made his way. And he pretty much just kept running against dumbass brick walls like The Rock. Like, The Rock was babied and pacified into being the greatest wrestler that we all know. And literally just came in through family ties, dude. Like, we all know that his dad was one of the better wrestlers of all time. And he just kind of got pushed. And then Rock gave no shits about being a wrestler. He's a movie star. And that's all it ever is going to be for me. The Rock is Dwayne Johnson. I rarely call him The Rock. The only reason I call him The Rock is because wrestling people know what the fuck I'm talking about. But yeah, The Rock and Stone Cold were the 2 guys. And I always went Stone Cold. Stone Cold's much better. Still is better. And will always be better. Same thing with Macho Man. Macho Man just kind of ran into the brick wall of Hulk Hogan. I still think Macho Man's the better wrestler and more entertaining. On and off the mic, in and out of the ring, much more entertaining individual. And the same thing. Hulk Hogan is, the wrestler, movie star, entrepreneur, actor, all of this shit. And Macho Man was a wrestler. And before you guys give me some shit, because, Macho Man was in movies too, remember the roles Macho Man had in every movie he was in, every TV show he was in. He was a fucking wrestler. He was the big guy. You know what I mean? He was the intimidating wrestling type. From Spider-Man, Bonesaw, wrestler. He was in fucking Dexter's Laboratory as Monkey, as the guy that wrestled Monkey, as a wrestler. Like, he was just a wrestler. He's a fighter through and through, and that's no different than CM Punk to me. CM Punk was the wrestler against John Cena, the actor, rapper, wannabe, bullshit character that he was. CM Punk was his counterpart, the wrestler, the one who only gave 2 shits about wrestling and being the best wrestler. So before you chew me out for liking these set of guys, remember that's the reason why I like them. I like wrestling. I don't like wrestling entertainment. I am entertained by wrestling. No more, no less. So there you go. That's why I gave a shit about CM Punk. I think that should do him justice at this point. Should we take a quick commercial break? Let's do it. And then we'll take a quick commercial break, and then we'll be back on this episode of fucking nonsense. All right, catch you. All right, and we're back. Did you enjoy those commercials? Were they useful and entertaining? Did you learn something? Did you buy something? You shouldn't buy everything. Just so you know, don't buy everything you see. It's not necessary. Anyway, so the next thing I want to get into, still CM Punk related. because I mentioned, and I got a little bit of shit for this too. Since I mentioned that CM Punk's return to AEW was one of the biggest pops I've ever heard, and then I got a shit ton of shit for it. So I did some research just to make sure, that I wasn't losing my fucking mind. So I looked up, oh shit, some of the biggest wrestling pops of all time, and the ones that I kept running into consistently to me were not that great. So what I ran into a lot was obviously Stone Cold and The Rock, right? Which I 100% said right off the gate. I'm like, comparing them to those two, like, yeah, no shit. The Rock and Stone Cold are going to get some pretty heavy pops. I don't think The Rock and Stone Cold could still, well, no, they could still probably get the same pop no matter what. So, again, I'm not saying that CM Punk's was better. It's just one of the best I've heard in a while, you know? And again, I'm comparing, I think Stone Cold, like, was universal that his greatest pop was 1999 when he interfered in The Rock and Mick Foley's match. Because he came out of literally fucking nowhere. I think he was still out and supposed to be injured. Came in, handled his business, and left. And just made sure that Mick Foley got the belt. So, hands down, super important. I think almost every one of Stone Cold's fucking intros has a heavy pop. Another great one, Rey Mysterio when he came back for the first time. Understandable. Great wrestler. Very underrated, I think. I think Rey Mysterio's hands down one of the most underrated fucking wrestlers of all time. But yeah, he's still not high up. I'd still say those two are the highest. Probably right. I would say it would probably go Rock, Stone Cold because no shit, they're the Golden Boys. Then I think it's CM Punk. And then right under him would probably be Edge's return. And funnily enough, Edge just came back to WWE as well, pulling off the Brood intro, which I don't understand why. Because he's not the Brood, you know what I mean? And a lot of people were like losing their shit over the Brood intro because, you know, that was the whole vampire bit from the fucking early 90s. But I need people to search their souls and remember a simple thing. The Brood was Edge and Christian and Gangrel, who was fucking a actual goddamn vampire. He actually had his teeth altered to be sharp like vampire teeth. Let's all remember for a hot second that Edge was a minion at that point. He wasn't important. He was maybe our favorite of that group, but he was just a minion at that point. So let's chill out on giving him that much of a pop because of his Brood intro. We just remember that some of us remember the Brood. And if it were me, I would like the entire Brood to come back. But that won't happen because WWE doesn't give two shits about legends. And Gangrel is definitely in the legends category. And Christian is off doing actual fucking wrestling work at AEW. So, yeah, no, that's the end of the Brood. So, the Radar Superstar is still good. Don't get me wrong. I'm not down Edge. Edge is, again, one of my favorite wrestlers. I was a big fan of him pre-Rated R Superstar era when he had the fucking Rob Zombie intro. I think we covered that pretty heavily in the wrestling podcast that I did a while back. But yeah, no, Edge was definitely up there. But I still think CM Punk's was better. A lot of people were giving me shit for not highlighting Triple H's intro when he first returned after being injured for so long. When he came back with the denim jacket and the fucking oh my god, the Motorhead thing, you know, the game theme. Again, another great pop, probably one of my favorites because I was a fan of Triple H over The Rock and a handful of people. The thing is, though, I don't know. I kind of want to I'm going to say maybe that's over Edge, too. There should be like a fucking wrestler's intro tier list. And I might do that. If I can find one or somebody makes one and send it to me, do that, please. But I'm probably going to say Triple H is probably better than Edge. So it should be probably biggest, but again, that's just biggest pops. Any of Rock, Stone Cold's, CM Punk's return. I think most of CM Punk's intros are fucking incredible. Then you had Triple H, that one singularity pop when he first came back. Fucking mayhem. I remember watching that shit. I think it was like SmackDown or some shit when he came back. It was fucking nuts. And then Edge under that because again, Edge is great, but Edge wasn't the guy as long as these other guys. You know what I mean? Edge became the guy. He became a favorite. I liked him. A handful of us liked him, but it wasn't significant enough. You know what I mean? It was, a background character of the Brood. And then it was Edge and Christian, which during the tag team era, I'm still gonna sit here and say that you had Edge and Christian. The Hardy Boys, I think, were better and much more fun to watch. Fucking the Dudley Boys were much more fun and entertaining to watch. Too Cool was much more fun and entertaining to watch. I think Edge was just the best wrestler of that crew. But again, Jeff Hardy by himself, I think, is a little bit better. Slight edge over fucking Edge. No pun intended. But I mean, again, that's just me. So, yeah, I'm not discounting any other people's, fucking pops or whatever. I'm just saying that CM Punk's is damn near one of the best. And here's two reasonings why. Comparing him to all of these people, yes, he's amongst the greatest. But I've heard many times of piped in crowd sounds, which is an actual thing. I'm not saying I know this for a fact, but I'm just saying I know, I've done my research, and I know certain things about certain people from certain people. We'll leave it at that. And like, we all know the piped in crowd noise for Roman Reigns. They push that man so heavily, and he's never going to be good. Roman Reigns is just shit by himself. He needs a crew. He is part of a crew. He was fine as part of the Shield, the silent, shut the fuck up, and just body slam people. Nobody wants to see him as a solo great person. They've booed him consistently, and they will continue to keep booing him consistently. Roman Reigns ain't shit. I've known or heard many times that The Rock sometimes has had piped in crowd sounds. John Cena has had piped in crowd sounds. Brock Lesnar has had piped in crowd sounds. I'm not saying that the crowd doesn't love them. They're just not as excited and eager to see these individuals. Shit, even my boy Goldberg can't even hold a crowd as well as some of these other wrestlers anymore. You know what I mean? They deteriorate, they get old, they're not interesting. I think CM Punk, hands down, is one of the only wrestlers that I know that I've seen and I've heard consistently from people who are at shows, from people that I know that kind of work with people in WWE. I've never heard this term before, and it only continuously happens when CM Punk's name is mentioned. That for TV, the crowd is deafened for TV because no one can hear them. You can't hear the intro music. You can never hear anybody else speak. The crowd is that damn loud for CM Punk. It literally just breaks equipment to a certain degree. CM Punk's pops are so damn loud, they are deafening the crowd sounds for TV. And just this last time, and you can say whatever you want. You can watch the video and judge it for yourself. But CM Punk had another, little mini interview when he, just a week after he returned to AEW. And he was just being interviewed in the middle of the ring. And CM Punk said it himself. Sorry, but I can't hear you. The crowd's too loud. But the thing is the crowd wasn't sounding that loud. I think that was another instance of them having to deafen the crowd so you can actually hear what the fuck is going on. CM Punk has multiple times mentioned the crowd is extremely loud. I've heard many times over that the crowd is deafened for CM Punk. So let's just be realistic and say that, CM Punk has a fucking phenomenal crowd. I'm not saying that they don't deafen the crowd for certain instances, but I just consistently hear CM Punk's name what deafened the crowd. So, yeah, I'm just going to sit here and say that, CM Punk is fucking killing it on the crowd pop game. That's all I'm going to say. And again, not diminishing anybody else's shit, just saying that CM Punk has an incredible pop. And then the last thing I want to get to before I end the whole CM Punk bit. A handful of you guys are shitting on CM Punk, to me. And I'm just to let you know right now, I don't give a shit. CM Punk is still going to be my favorite wrestler. So you can shit on CM Punk as much as you want. I don't really give a fuck. Yeah, I still read them. I don't really give a shit, but yeah. Whatever, man. Like, I don't really give a fuck. I don't even know what else to say. Um, yeah. So there you go. And on top of you guys shitting on CM Punk, apparently a handful of wrestlers should have tried to shit on CM Punk. And again, nobody wants to hear it. First of all, being Kevin Nash. Kevin Nash tried to shit on him, and I don't know if it was a shit on him, maybe just a play on how he got shitted on by CM Punk, where he just tweeted out, "Oh my God, LMG or LMAO." I thought it's OMG LMAO. CM Punk thought he was dead, which is a bit that CM Punk used on Kevin Nash. So I'm not gonna sit there and take that as a hit because nobody thought that CM Punk was dead because they chant his name consistently in WWE. His CM Punk chant has literally become one of the chants like "what" from Stone Cold, where ain't got to have shit to do with him, but people are going to continuously chant "what." People were chanting CM Punk just because they wanted him to fucking come back. So, is what it is, man. Yeah, nobody thought he was dead. People kept tabs on him. I tried to see him early 2020 at Comic-Con in Chicago because he was here with a handful of AEW people, which not going to say that was foreshadowing or something like that, but let's just say he was there with AEW people and he was the only WWE guy or previous WWE guy there. I tried to see him then, just didn't get a chance to. Now, people know that CM Punk is around. People fucking love CM Punk. So let's not even go there, Kevin Nash. Funnily enough, I actually thought Kevin Nash wasn't around anymore and he might have been dead until he sent that tweet out. And then there's two more individuals. Roman Reigns tried to tweet out that CM Punk was never that good, and that's the reason why he never got over. For one, CM Punk didn't get over plainly enough because it's common knowledge at this point. Triple H and Vince McMahon didn't like CM Punk personally. They all said that he's too small. He's got a bit of an attitude problem. We like bigger size, stout, stocky wrestlers like Triple H, The Rock, Stone Cold. That was always their shtick. Is their guy should be like that, and they weren't translating into the new era of wrestlers pretty well. So they kind of just shitted on him consistently. Because if you really think about it, the guys that were put over during the Punk era when he was kind of popular was John Cena, Batista, who was not even as good as Randy Orton. The Big Show was still fucking popular for some stupid ass reason. Brock Lesnar was popular and he was fucking hot ass garbage. Like you see all these big giant fucking people and then you got CM Punk trying to, roll in and just take over. Same thing happened to Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy got shitted on because he was too small. He's, a fucking, hardcore style, cruiserweight style wrestler. He won a championship at some point and then they shitted on him and fucking kicked him out. And that's why he ended up in TNA Wrestling. They just don't like smaller guys. CM Punk has mentioned that. It's common knowledge from people that know Triple H, that know Vince McMahon. Fucking even JR said the same shit. And if you don't trust JR, you don't trust wrestlers. Trust wrestling in general. So get the fuck out of here. So that's why he never got over it. They pushed Roman Reigns, and nobody likes Roman Reigns. They piped in crowd music for Roman Reigns, and no one still likes Roman Reigns. They are just consistently booing him, so he can shut the fuck up for one. And then the last guy that I heard recently that was trying to diminish CM Punk was R-Truth. I liked R-Truth a little bit, but R-Truth is a gimmick wrestler. And what I mean by gimmick wrestler is you don't enjoy him for his wrestling, you enjoy him for everything else. So he has a goofy, intro where he comes out and raps his own theme song, gets the crowd involved, screaming "What's up" and all of that shit. He's kind of stupid. He plays stupid very well. It's just entertaining. I enjoyed him when he was doing I think it was the 24-hour championship thing when they brought that back. I loved the 24-hour championship idea. They didn't do it very well this time around, but I definitely enjoyed R-Truth having that little segment of his own where he, rolls around, loses the belt early in the fucking show, and then spends the entire show trying to get his belt back. It's funny. It's gimmicky. That doesn't make him a great wrestler. And he's sitting there talking like he got over. Him and The Miz got over more than CM Punk did. The Miz was just fresh face. You know what I mean? People thought they were going to like The Miz. And no one really gave two shits about The Miz, to be honest. He was like that generation's Chris Jericho. We like him a little bit. A handful of guys want him to succeed, but no one really gives a shit, And again, he's too small. So they weren't going to push him as heavily anyway. They pushed him just a little more than fucking CM Punk. So let's just be realistic. CM Punk was the better guy across the board, one of the better fan bases, better wrestlers. He just didn't get the push because no one liked him. Now, I don't mind eating crow on this one. So I'm going to let you guys know. I'm a fan of it. CM Punk, there's a shit ton of CM Punk fans. But I will tell you this. If CM Punk goes to AEW and doesn't show out the entire time he's there, I will be the first one to bash him. Because he showed up. He screams, I'm back. He's holding off on the it's clobbering time thing, whatever. He literally came in and went after their main guy in AEW. I need him to show the fuck out. I tried to watch him in UFC and it didn't work out as a mixed martial artist. He needs to show out in the wrestling ring. That's all I'm going to say. So on that note, let's take another quick break and then I'll help close out. I'm doing this shit by myself. I'm going to close out this podcast. So enjoy these last few commercials and then we'll talk about some random shit and call it a day. See ya. Alright guys, what's up? Welcome back. I know, commercials suck, but I gotta get paid. So, last thing I wanted to talk about, Gamescom. Because, don't forget, I'm a gamer. And I don't think I talk about games enough, right? Right. So, Gamescom's been going on for this last few days. And I've been paying attention, but I also don't give a shit, sadly enough. But I will at least discuss the few things that have happened that I kind of care about. So let's take a look, because I know there's a few things and I don't remember everything. So let's just start off with one of the bigger things. Saints Row's getting rebooted, which is kind of dope. I don't know how it's going to work out. I don't know if it's going to be, the ridiculous Saints Row 3 and 4, with dildo guns and dubstep guns and shit like that, which I would love. I hope they bring that back, but I understand if they don't, they kind of want to go the serious route again, like the first original 2 Saints Rows, which would be okay, I guess, but not what anybody wants. We all like Saints Row because it's the goofy, ridiculous version of, fucking Grand Theft Auto. It's Grand Theft Auto's getting into the ridiculous form. Saints Row's been there, you know what I mean? Like I said, until you get a dubstep gun, which I think was probably the greatest thing that they had in that entire series, you haven't reached full stupidity. So, yeah, I would 100% say I'm kind of interested. And Saints Row, I'm just not 100% sure what they're doing with it. It looks kind of weird. What else got announced? Star Wars, the Skywalker Saga wasn't announced, but it was just shown a little bit more in depth. And I hate to say it, this probably might be the best Star Wars game that ever existed. Star Wars, Lego, and pretty much all the Lego games in general are on the side of very funny. Funny, but still true to source material. And what they did with Star Wars is fucking incredible. For the people who like Star Wars, we've seen all of Star Wars 1,000 times over, We don't really need to relive Star Wars again. What Lego did was just run you through the story again, but, make little cracks and jokes. I think the best thing that they showed in the trailer was, hey, whatever happened to my father, coming from shit. I'm just kind of butchered that setup. Luke asking Obi-Wan, hey, whatever happened to my father? Or how did he die? And Obi-Wan sitting there just like with this shit grin on his face, like, I don't want to answer that question. Which is perfect. Like, that's funny. We all know what happened in episode 3. We don't need to hide it anymore. This is not 1979 or whatever the fuck when that movie came out. We all know what the fuck happened now. So to, goof it up a little bit and make fun of the whole situation is a good idea. The fact that the game's open world, which is nuts. I was not expecting an open world fucking Star Wars game at all anytime soon. And for Lego to be the one to do it, it's just like, holy shit. And the environments look incredible. So if you were on the fence, check it out. I think Lego Star Wars is going to be fucking incredible. Forza Horizon 5 just got more gameplay shown, and I didn't get to see much of it. I guess I'll take a quick peek at it now, but I know what I'm getting out of Forza Horizon. It's just a fucking beautiful game. It's a beautiful driving game. There's not much more I can say about it. Problem is, it's an Xbox game, so I'm probably not going to fucking play it ever. I always get it, fuck with it for a few minutes, but it's very heavily on the simulated driving side, which I'm just not good at, It's just too intricate and detailed, and I just get overwhelmed very quickly. I like arcadey style driving games, but the visuals of fucking Forza always blow me away. Half of the time, I can barely tell if it's real or fake. So shout out to Forza. You guys always make a really fun, interesting, interesting and heavily detailed game. Problem is, I just can't fucking play it. I just can't fucking play it. So I'm out. I'm sorry. But yeah, Forza is another good one. Marvel's making another game. I don't know if it's like a fighting game or something. It looks like a fighting game, and I don't give a shit. And then they just showed fucking Death Stranding for the umpteenth time. Like, I give a shit. I don't give two shits about fucking Forza. Fucking Death Stranding. It's a shitty game. I don't care how many people try and sell me on it. It's just not good. It's not fun. And I don't want to play it. I'm never going to play it, so no thanks. I tried, though. I tried. I even sold a few other people on it. I was like, dude, check this shit out. It's going to be good. It's fucking, Hideo Kojima. He doesn't make bad games. His games are always interesting. He made fucking Metal Gear, and that PT game was going to be dope, and Silent Hill was going to be dope, and I just don't care. That's literally all it is. I didn't give a fuck. I found it very hard to get interested. And I'm not a fangirl for Norman Reedus, so, is it Reedus or Revis? Norman Reedus, I'm gonna say. I'm not a big fangirl of him, so I didn't care. And so, it is what it is. But yeah, that's pretty much all they really showed. I mean, they showed Call of Duty, and I'm so far, I don't give a shit in Call of Duty form that it's not even fun anymore. Like, I'm just not. I'm just fucking not. So, yeah, it is what it is. Yeah, that's pretty much it on Gamescom. Hopefully they show something related to God of War. I really would like to see something related to God of War soon, because they keep teasing it, but I've seen absolutely nothing, I'm really looking forward to something God of War related. God of War is probably one of my favorite series of all time, and that last God of War game was pretty fucking epic, It was a great story, great storytelling, great action camera, all of that shit. I'm probably going to stream that at some point when I get a chance. Probably closer to when the new God of War game comes out. I'll probably stream it, because it should be coming out next year, if I'm not mistaken, they said. So, yeah, I'm hoping to see something related to God of War. It would be nice if I got some Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2 news, but I doubt it very seriously. Just, they need to finish that shit. I don't give a fuck what happens with everything else. Let's just finish Final Fantasy VII Remake. I've been waiting long enough, I don't want to be fucking 50 trying to play the same ass game, It's like they keep saying that, development's going well, everything should be fine, so let's fucking hurry this shit up. But yeah, other than that, I'm happy with, everything else is going to be dope. The only game that I was actually looking forward to out of all of this shit was the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle game, because they just went old school with it, and honestly, old school TMNT is probably the only good Turtles games there are. So, is what it is, man. So, yeah, hopefully that all turns out well. Today's day 2. I think there's going to be just a full 3-4 days of Gamescom, which is whatever at this point, because I doubt they're going to be announcing anything humongous. But if they do, I will be on it damn near right away. Like, you're going to be hard pressed for me not to be the first motherfucker to say something or do a video or a podcast or something about it in general. So, yeah, no, that's going to happen. So, and on that note, I think that's it. I'm going to keep this one short. I'm going to try and keep Thursdays a little shorter than my Mondays, because, you know what? I'm not going to kill myself doing this shit. And I'm already late as is putting out this podcast. Oh, fuck. I completely forgot. I was supposed to mention Spider-Man, because everybody was on my ass about Spider-Man. I am so sorry. See, don't leave. Don't leave until the music hits. Spider-Man No Way Home trailer came out the other day. And as all you guys know, I'm a big fan of Spider-Man, and I was, I won't say underwhelmed, but I didn't get what I want. What I was expecting was Tom Holland's version of Spideyverse, and what I got was a Doctor Strange movie. This is closer to a Doctor Strange movie than a Spider-Man movie, because this whole multiverse and weird bendy world bullshit, I don't give a fuck about. I don't care. Like, I don't like Doctor Strange. I would have watched Doctor Strange if I wanted to watch Doctor Strange. I'm happy that they're trying to cross over as much shit of Marvel as they can, but I just wasn't interested. And what I was expecting was them to at least, okay, if that's going to be the way how it goes, then it's going to turn into the multiverse Spider-Mans. And it looks like all they did was just brought back Tobey's villains. They brought back Doc Ock and what sounds to be either Hobgoblin or Green Goblin. James Franco's character Hobgoblin, or the actual Will Dafoe. Yeah, Will Dafoe's Green Goblin. Either would be great, because then he would actually have a fucking villain I could follow. Because, to my knowledge, the Tom Holland Spider-Mans have had no real villain. So what the fuck am I watching? Like, again, I haven't watched any of them, but no one's told me about any of his main villains. So I'm like, I don't know who the fuck he's fighting. There hasn't even been a crossover for Venom yet. Which I still don't understand how they're doing a Venom movie without any reference to fucking Spider-Man. Like, that's kind of how Venom was created. It was the symbiote attaching itself to Spider-Man, and then the symbiote obtaining Spider-Man's powers and then passing them on to Brock, who then became Venom. That's how it works. The spider powers or Spider-Man nature wasn't in Venom. It was obtained from Spider-Man first. I think that's how it works. I don't think he would have been what he was without Spider-Man in existence first. Just saying. That's how the story's always been told. It jumps on Spider-Man. He becomes the black-suited Spider-Man, slightly evil and psychotic. He rips it off. It drips on to the Venom character, and then Venom's a thing. They did it in Spider-Man 3, no problem. Tobey Spider-Man 3. I don't know why the fuck they just fucked it all up for this new Spider-Man. But it is what it is. I didn't see any mention of the other Spider-Mans. People were like frothing at the mouth that Tobey was going to show back and Andrew Garfield was going to show back up. It didn't happen. I didn't see it, at least. Or at least the trailer didn't show it. They just showed other fucking villains. And they were all Tobey's villains. I didn't even see Jamie Foxx's weird Electro character. Like, I didn't see the things that was like, okay, this is going to become this. It just seems like they just ripped old villains and threw them into Tom Holland Spider-Man, because Tom Holland Spider-Man sucks. So that's my take on the new Spider-Man trailer. So yeah, go fuck yourself. I'm out of here. I'll catch you guys later. And don't forget, pay attention to the Facebook, because I stream a lot more often than I do before. It's not just the 1st and 15th, but I always do the 1st and 15th. All right, catch you guys later. Peace. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Nonsense Podcast. Remember, tune in on your favorite streaming site like Spotify, Apple, or Google Podcasts. Also, don't forget to check us out on YouTube at FM Bob Show to listen to the podcast and watch videos by yours truly. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I also stream twice a month. The FNF streams on twitch.tv. Just remember to search the FM Bob on twitch.tv. And make sure you follow so you never miss out when I stream on the 1st and 15th at 7 p.m. Most importantly, follow me on Facebook at FM Bob Show so you can get updated on all things FM Bob and interact with the community. Thanks, guys, and I'll see you next time.